Hello. Hello, everyone. Hello, hello, hello. So, hi. I'm back. I'm in the right order. I'm on book 9. Despite the wahoo of the last couple of episodes. Oh well. Bit late as well because my tablet had to update. But anyway, welcome back. Uh, this is me doing the reading on the video thing and not on the podcast thing. Reading Paradise Lost, Book 9. This is a poem by John Milton in 10 books. This is probably going to be split into 2 episodes again as well, because I'm very late coming to this episode, and it's not the longest chapter in the book, or the longest book in the book, whatever it is, but it's still a longer one. So, last time, what have I done? Don't know. Last time, Eve did a thing. In the end of book 8, Eve did a thing. End of book 7, which was the last one I did, that was not what Eve did. That was leading up to that. Anyway, so we shall begin. Do I have any juice left? No, no juice left. So grab yourself a drink and enjoy the tales. I'm a bit discombobulated, as you might be able to tell. I'm a bit sideways today. So anyway, sit back, grab yourself a drink, and enjoy Book 9. Meanwhile, the heinous and despiteful act of Satan done in paradise, and how he in the serpent had perverted Eve, her husband she, to taste the fateful fruit, was known in heaven. For what can escape the eye of God all-seeing, or deceive his heart omniscient, who, in all things wise and just, hindered not Satan to attempt the mind of man, with strength entire and free will armed, complete to have discovered and repulsed whatever wiles or foe or seeming friend. So for still they knew, and ought to have still remembered, the high injunction not to taste that fruit whoever tempted, which they not obeying incurred. What could they less the penalty of manifold in sin deserve to fall? Up into heaven from paradise in hast the angelic guards ascended, mute and sad for man. For of his state by this they knew, much wondering how the subtle fiend had stolen entrance unseen. Soon as the unwelcome news from earth arrived at heaven gate, displeased all were who heard. Dim sadness did not spare that time's celestial visages, yet mixed with pity, violated not their bliss. About their new arrived in multitudes the ethereal people ran, to hear and know how all befell. They towards the throne supreme accountable made haste to make appear with righteous plea their utmost vigilance, and easily approved with the most high eternal Father. From this secret cloud a mist in thunder uttered this voice: assembled angels, and ye powers, return from unsuccessful charge. Be not dismayed nor troubled as these tidings from the earth, which your sincerest care could not prevent, foretold so lately what would come to pass. When first his tempter crossed for the gulf from hell, I told ye then he should prevail, and seed on his bad errand man should be seduced and flattered out of all, believing lies against his maker, no decree of mine concurring to necessitate his fall, or touch with the slightest moment of impulse his free will to her own inclining left. In even scale but fallen he is, and now what rests but that mortal sentence passed on his transgressions, death denounced that day, which he presumes already vain and void, because not yet inflicted, as he feared, by some immediate stroke, but soon shall find forbearance, no acquittance ere day end. Justice shall not return as bounty scorned, but whom send I to judge them? Whom but thee, vice-regent, vicegerent's son, to thee I have transferred all judgment, whether in heaven or earth or hell. Easy it may be seen that I intend mercy colleague with justice, sending thee, man's friend, his mediator, his design, both ransom and redeemer, volunteer, and destined man himself to judge man fallen. So spake the Father, and unfolding bright toward the right hand his glory on the sun blazed forth, unclouded deity. He full resplendent all his Father manifest, expressed, and thus divinely answered mild, Father eternal, thine is to decree, mine both in heaven and earth to do thy will supreme, that thou in me, thy Son beloved, mayest ever rest well pleased. I go to judge on earth these thy transgressors, be thou knowest, whoever judged the worst on me must light. What time shall be, for so I undertook before thee, and not repenting, this obtain of right, that I may mitigate their doom. On me derived, yet I shall temper so. Funny beatings. On me derived, yet I shall temper so, justice with mercy, so may illustrate most them fully satisfied, and thee appease, attendants none shall need, nor train when none are to behold the judgment, but the judge, those two, the third best absent, in condemned, convict by flight, and rebel to all law, conviction to the serpent none belongs. Thus saying, from his radiant seat he rose, of high collateral glory, him thrones and powers, princedoms and dominations, mistraight, accompanied to heaven gate. From whence Eden and all the coast in prospect lay, down he descended straight, the speed of gods. Time counts not, though with swiftest minutes winged. Now was the sun in western cadence low, from noon and gentle airs due, at the hour, to fan the earth, now wait and usher in the evening cool, when he from wrath more cool came the mild judge, and intercessor both, to sentence man. The voice of God they heard, now walking in the garden, by soft winds brought to their ears. While day declined they heard, and from his presence hid themselves among the thickest trees, both man and wife, till God approaching thus to Adam called aloud, Where art thou, Adam? Wont with joy to meet my coming seen far off? I miss thee here. Not pleased, thus entertained with solitude, where obvious duty erewhile appeared unsought, or come I less conspicuous, or what change absents thee, or what chance detains? Come forth. He came, and with him Eve, more loth, though first to offend, discountenanced both, and discomposed. Love was not in their looks, either to God or to each other, but apparent guilt, and shame, and perturbation, and despair, anger, and obstinacy, and hate, and guile. Whence Adam faltering long thus answered brief, I heard thee in the garden, and of thy voice afraid, being naked, hid myself. To whom the gracious judge without revile replied, My voice thou oft hast heard, and hast not feared, but still rejoiced. How is it now become so dreadful to thee, that thou art naked? Who hath told thee? Hast thou eaten of the tree whereof I gave thee charge thou shouldst not eat? To whom thus Adam sore beset replied, O heaven, in evil strait this day I stand before my judge, either to undergo myself the total crime, or to accuse my other self, the partner of my life, whose failing, while her faith to me remains, I should conceal, and not expose to blame. By my complaint, but strict necessity subdues me in calamitous constraint, lest on my head doth both sin and punishment, however insupportable, be all devolved. Though should I hold my peace, yet thou wouldst easily detect what I conceal. This woman whom thou madest to be my help, and gavest me as thy perfect gift, so good, so fit, so acceptable, so divine, that from her hand I could suspect no ill. And what she did, whatever in itself her doing seemed to justify the deed, she gave me of the tree, and I did eat. To whom the sovereign presence thus replied, Was she thy God, that her thou didst obey before his voice? Or was she made thy guide superior, or but equal, that to her thou didst recognize thy manhood, and the place wherein God set thee above her made of thee, and for thee, whose perfection far excelled hers in all real dignity? Adorned she was indeed, and lovely to attract thy love, not thy subjection, and her gifts were such as under government well seemed, unseemly to bear rule, which was thy part and person. Hast thou known thyself all right? So having said, he thus to Eve in few, Say, woman, what is this which thou hast done? To whom sad Eve with shame nigh overwhelmed, confessing soon, yet not before her judge, bold or loquacious, thou thus abashed replied, The serpent me beguiled, and I did eat. Which when the Lord God heard, without delay to judgment he proceeded on the accused serpent, though brute, unable to transfer the guilt on him who made him instrument of mischief and polluted from end of his creation, justly then accursed, as vitiated in nature, more to know concerned not man, since he no further knew, nor altered his offence, yet God at last to Satan, first in sin, his doom applied. Though in mysterious terms judged that then best, and on the serpent thus his curse fell, Because thou hast done this, thou art accursed, above all cattle, each beast of the field, upon thy belly grovelling thou shalt go, and dust shalt eat all the days of thy life. Between thee and the woman I will put enmity, and between thine and her seed shall bruise thy head, and thy bruise his heel. So spake this oracle, then verified, when Jesus, son of Mary, second Eve, saw Satan fall like lightning down from heaven. Prince of the air, then rising from his grave, spoiled principalities and powers, triumphant in open shew, an ascension bright, captivity led captive through the air, the realm itself of Satan long usurped, whom he shall tread at last under our feet, even he who now foretold his fatal bruise, and to the woman thus his sentence turned. Thy sorrow I will greatly multiply, by thy conception children thou shalt bring in sorrow forth, and to thy husband's will thine shall submit, he over he shall rule. On Adam last thus judgment he pronounced, Because thou hast hearkened to the voice of thy wife, and eaten of the tree concerning which I charge thee, saying, Thou shalt not eat thereof, cursed is the ground for thy sake. Thou in sorrow shalt eat thereof all the days of their life. Thorns also and thistles it shall bring thee forth unbid, and thou shalt eat the herb of the field. In the sweet of thy face shalt thou eat bread, till thou return unto the ground, for thou out of the ground was taken. Know thy birth, for dust thou art, and shalt dust return. So judged he man, both judge and saviour sent, and the instant stroke of death denounced that day, removed far off, then pitying how they stood before him naked to the air, that now must suffer change, disdained not to begin thenceforth the form of servant to assume, as when he washed his servants' feet, so now as father of his family he clad their nakedness with skins of beasts, or slain as the snake with the youthful coat repaid, and thought not much to clothe his enemies, nor he their outward only with the skins of beasts, but inward nakedness, much more opprobrious with his robe of righteousness, arraying covered from his father's sight, to him with swift ascent he returned into his blissful bosom, resumed in glory as of old. To him appeased all through, although all appeased all, though all knowing what had passed with man recounted, mixing intercessions sweet. Meanwhile, thus was sinned and judged on earth. Within the gates of hell sat sin and death in counter view within the gates that now stood open wide, belching outrageous flame far into chaos. Since the fiend passed through, sin opening, who thus now to death began. O son, why sit we here of other viewing idly, while Satan, our great author, thrives in other worlds, and happier seat provides for us his offspring dear? It cannot be, but what success attends him, if mishap ere this he'd returned, with fury driven by his avenger, since no place like this can fit his punishment, or their revenge. Methinks I feel new strength within me rise, wings growing and dominion given me large, beyond this deep, whatever draws me on, or sympathy, or some connatural force, powerful at greatest and distance to untie, with secret amity, things of the like kind. By secretest conveyance thou may shade inseparable, must with me along, for death from sin no power can separate, but least the difficulties of passing back stay his return, perhaps over his gulf impassable, impervious. Let us try adventurous work, yet to thy power and mine not unagreeable to found a path. Over this main from hell to that new world where Satan now prevails, a monument of merit high to all the infernal host, easing their passage hence from intercourse or transmigration, as their lot shall lead. Nor can I miss the way so strongly drawn by this new felt attraction and instinct, whom thus the meagre shadow answered soon. Go whither fate and inclination strong leads thee. I shall not lag behind, nor ere the way thou leading. Such a scent I draw of carnage, prey innumerable, and taste the savour of death from all things there that live. Nor shall I to the work thou enterprised be wanting, but afford thee equal aid. So saying, with delight he snuffed the smell of mortal change on earth. And when a flock of ravenous fowl, though many a league remote, amongst the day of battle, to a field where armies lie encamped, come flying, lured with scent of living carcasses, designed for death the following day, in bloody fight, so sentient the grim feature, and upturned his nostril wide into murky air, sagacious of his quarry, from so far then both out of hell gates into the waste wide anarchy of chaos damp and dark, flew divers, and with power their power was great, hovering upon the waters. What they met, solid or slimy, as in raging sea, tossed up and down together, crowned, drove from each side, shoaling towards the mouth of hell, as when two polar winds blowing adverse upon the Cronian sea together drive mountains of ice that stopped the imagined way beyond Petsora eastward to the rich Cathian sea. The aggregated soil death with his mace petrific, cold and dry, and with the trident smoke and fixed as firm as Delios floating once, the rest his look bound with Gorgonian rigour not to move, and with the asphaltic slime broad as the gate, deep to the roads of hell. They gathered beach, they fastened, and the mole immense wrought on over the foaming deep, high arched, a bridge of length prodigious joining the wall, immovable of this now fenceless world, forfeit to death, from hence a passage broad, smooth, easy, inoffensive, down to hell. So, if great things to small may be compared, Xerxes, the liberty of Greece to yoke, from Susa his Memnonian palace high, came to the sea, and over Hell's pond bridging his way, Europe with Asia joined, and scourging with many a stroke the indigent waves. Now had they brought the work by wondrous art pontifical, a ridge of pendant rock over the vexed abyss, following the track of Satan to the self same place where he first lighted from his wing, and landed safe from out of chaos to the outside bare of this round world. With the pins of adamant and chains they made all fast, too fast they made, and durable, and now in little space the confines met of empyrean heaven, and of this world, and of the left hand hell, with long reach interposed, three several ways in sight to each of these three places led, and now their way to earth they had described, to paradise first tending, when behold Satan in his likeness of an angel bright betwixt the centaur and the scorpion steering his zenith, while the sun in Aries rose, disguised he came, but those his children dear their parents soon discern, though in disguise he, after Eve seduced, unminded slunk into the wood fast by, and changing shape to observe the sequel, saw his guileful act by Eve, though all unweeting seconded upon her husband, saw their shame that saw vain covetures, but when he saw descend the Son of God to judge them, terrified he fled, not hoping to escape, but shunned the present, fearing guilty what his wrath might suddenly inflict. That past returned by night, and listening where the hapless pair sate in their sad discourse, and various pain thence gathered his own doom, which understood not instant but of future time, with joy and tidings fraught, to hell he now returned, and at the brink of chaos, near the foot of this new wondrous pontificy, unhopped met who to meet him came, his offsprings dear, great joy was at their meeting, and at sight of that stupendous bridge his joy increased. Long he admiring stood, till Sin, his fair enchanting daughter, thus his silence broke. O parent, these are thy magnific deeds, thy trophies which thou viewest not as thine own. Thou art the author and prime architect, for I no sooner in my heart divined my heart, which by a secret harmony still moves with thine, joined in connection sweet, that thou art earth hadst prospered, which thy looks now also evidence, but straight I felt, though distant from the worlds between, yet felt that I must after thee with this thy son, such fatal consequence unites us three. Hell could no longer hold us in her bounds, nor his unvoyageable gulf obscure detain from following thy illustrious track. Thou hast achieved our liberty, confined within hell gates till now, though us empowered to fortify thus far and overlay with this portentous bridge the dark abyss. Thy now is all the world, thy virtue hath won what thy hands builded not. Thy wisdom gained with odds what war hath lost, and fully avenged our foil in heaven. Here thou shalt monarch reign, there didst not, there let him still victor sway, as battle hath adjudged from this new world, retiring by his own doom alienated, and henceforth monarchy with thee divide of all things, parted by thy imperial bounds, his quadrature from thy orbicular world, will try thee now more dangerous to his throne. Whom thus the Prince of Darkness answered glad, Fair daughter, and thy son and grandchild both, high proof ye now have given to be the race of Satan. For I, glory in the name, antagonist of heaven's almighty King, amply have merited of me, of all the infernal empire, that so near heaven's door triumphal act have met, mine with this glorious work, and made one realm hell, and this world one realm, one continent of easy thoroughfare. Therefore, while I descend through darkness, on your robe with ease to my associate powers, then to acquaint with these successes, and with them rejoice. You too this way among the numerous orbs, all yours, right down to paradise descend. There dwell and reign in bliss, thence on the earth dominion exercise, and in the air, chiefly on man, sole lord of all declared, him first make sure your thrall, and lastly kill. My substitutes I send ye, and create plenipotent on earth of matchless might, issuing from me. On your joint vigour now, my hold on this new kingdom all depends. Through sin to death exposed by my exploit, if your joint power prevail, the affairs of hell no detriment need fear. Go and be strong. So saying, he dismissed them. They, with speed, their course through the thickest constellations held, spreading their bane. The blasted stars looked wan, and planets struck. Real eclipse then suffered. The other way Satan went down, the causeway to hell gate. On either side departed chaos, overbuilt exclaimed, and with rebounding surge the bars assailed. This scorned his indignation. Through the gate wide open and unguarded Satan passed, and all about found desolate, for those appointed to sit there had left their charge, flown to the upper world. The rest were all far to the inland retired, about the walls of Pandemonium, city and proud seat of Lucifer. So, by illusion called, of bright star to Satan paragon, there kept their watch the legions, while the grand in council sate, solicitous what chance might intercept their emperor sent. So he departing gave command, and they observed, as when the Tartar from his Russian foe by Astrakhan over the snowy plains retires, or the Bactrian Sophie from his horns of Turkish crescent leave all waste beyond the realm of Aladul, in his retreat to Taurus or Caspian. So these, the late heaven-banished host, left desert utmost hell, many a dark league, reduced in careful watch round their metropolis, and now expecting each hour their great adventurer from the search of foreign worlds, he through the mist unmarked in shoe plebeian angel militant, of lowest order, passed, and from the door of that Plutonian hall, invisible ascended to his high throne, which under state of richest texture spread, at the upper end was placed in regal lustre. Down a while he sate, and round about him saw unseen. At last, as from a cloud, his fulgent head and shape star bright appeared, or brighter clad with what permissive glory since his fall was left him, or false glitter. All amazed, all that so sudden blaze the Stygian throng bent their aspect, and whom they wished beheld their mighty chief return. Loud was the acclaim. Forth rushed in haste the great consulting peers, raised from the dark divan, and with like joy congratulate approached him, who with hands silence, and with these words attention won. Thrones, dominations, princedoms, virtues, powers, for all in possession such, not only of right, I call ye, and I declare ye now, returned, successful beyond hope, to lead ye forth triumphant out of this infernal pit, abominable, accursed, the house of woe and dungeon of our tyrant, now possess as lords a spacious world to our native heaven, little inferior by my adventure hard, with peril great achieved. Long were to tell what I have done, what suffered, with what pain voyaged the unreal, vast, unbounded deep of horrible confusion, over which by sin and death a broad way now is paved to expedite your glorious march. But I toiled out my uncouth passage, forced to ride the intractable abyss, plunged in the womb of unoriginal night and chaos wild. that jealous of their secrets fiercely opposed my journey strange with clamorous uproar, protesting fate supreme, thence how I found the new created world, which fame in heaven long had foretold, a fabric wonderful of absolute perfection, therein man, placed in a paradise by our exile, made happy. Him by fraud I have seduced from his creator, and the more to increase your wonder with an apple, he thereat offended, worth your laughter, hath given up both his beloved man and all his world, to sin and death a prey, and so to us, without our hazard, labour, or alarm, to range us in and to dwell, and over man to rule, as over all he should have ruled. True it is, me also he hath judged, or rather me not, but the brute serpent in whose shape man I deceived. That which to me belongs is enmity, which he will put between me and mankind. I am to bruise his heel, his seed, when is not set, shall bruise my head. A world who would not purchase with a bruise, or much more grievous pain, yet hath the account of my performance. What remains, ye gods, but up and enter now into the fullness, now into full bliss. And there I shall stop, because as you can probably hear, my voice seems to be giving up. Having a bit of a problem with allergies and bad air at the moment, so I think I shall finish there and come back. Not next week, I'll be on holiday next week, the week after. So in 2 weeks, I shall come back, finish off book 9, and then we'll do book 10, and then I don't know what. I've got plans, but we'll see what happens. So I should also probably get on to doing my podcast at some point. That's meant to be some devil folklore. I've got all the stories and all the research tabs on my computer open. I've just not planned anything. So anyway, I hope you all enjoyed that. I'm going to sign off now and have something to drink to help my throat and probably go to bed because I'm old. Right. Anyway, thank you very much, everyone. Bye-bye.